Saxon Algebra 1/2. Greetings, my students. Welcome to another week of math. Thank you for checking in with me on our video chats every Thursday or Friday. Joel, I have not talked to you in the past 2 weeks. You've missed 2 check-ins in a row. Dude, I need to talk to you. And I need to talk to you at your regularly scheduled check-in time, which is Thursdays at 1. So please make that happen every week from now on until the end of the year. I've been chasing you around all week long, or all year long rather. And I'm ready for you to just develop this habit. Please, I'm begging you. Jojo and Alexis did it. You can do it too. Okay, so talk to me on Thursday at 1 o'clock. You and Micah should be fighting over who gets to call me first. All right, adding and I'm sorry, that is not adding, and I'm not talking about subtracting. I'm talking about multiplying and dividing signed numbers. Excuse me. Now, I was thinking about adding and subtracting signed numbers, which is what we learned how to do here on the ladder in the meadow. You remember the meadow with the flowers and the butterflies and the sunshine streaming down and the hole in the ground and the ladder, and you climb up and down as you're adding positive and negative numbers. This is kind of a long, dramatic explanation. And the good news is that multiplying and dividing signed numbers is way easier, way easier. But I want to tell you a weird story. Not as weird, well, I don't know, maybe as weird as the meadow story, but different. Have you guys ever played the game Pickup Sticks? You know what they are. They're long, cylindrical pieces of wood, probably skinnier than this, probably longer than this. But there's a whole handful of them, and the idea is that you hold them in your hand standing up, right, like this pen, only a bunch of them, and then you hold it above the ground and you let go, and they all drop to the ground, and then you're supposed to try to pick them up without nudging any of the other ones. I never really liked this game, you guys, but at my grandparents' house, they didn't have that many toys. I don't know if you have that situation, but grandparents, you know, sometimes they have some toys, but not a lot of toys. But that was one of the few options we had for games to play. The problem is that we would play it and get frustrated and end up just like throwing the pickup sticks all over the room. That was kind of the way every game ended with my brothers and me. I like to think it was something to do with boys, but you know, every game ended up with throwing the game all over the room. So this operation, I do have a point here, always reminds me of pickup sticks because I'm using toothpicks. I don't have my grandparents' pickup sticks accessible to me anymore, but I always think of them, but I can illustrate with toothpicks. Pretend these are minus signs. 2 minus signs can be rearranged to make a plus sign. Oh my gosh, do you see how satisfying that is? That is the trick to multiplying and dividing sign numbers. For every 2 minus signs, you can put them together and make a positive sign, right? How fabulous is that? So keep that in mind while I tell you the rule for multiplying and dividing. And by signed numbers, we just mean signs that have a mix of positive and negatives. And this is the pickup sticks reminder. Okay, so when you're multiplying or dividing some numbers, one, you just work on the numbers. You do the multiplication or the division, whatever it asks for. And then second, you count the minus signs. Whoops, I tried to make minus signs all one word. Let's do it. Minus signs, it's all one word. Every 2 negatives equals 1 positive, okay? So what that means is that you can just count the minus signs, right? We'll do that in the problems. But this is the rule, and I want you to imagine this is every 2 minus signs equals 1 positive sign. And I just want you to think about those pickup sticks, right? 1 pickup stick and another pickup stick gets rearranged to make a plus sign. Okay, let's do a problem and you'll see this is kind of fun. Example 81.1. Sorry, I was jumping us ahead a week or two. All right. A, B, C, and D. Oh man, John, why must you be the way you are? Just kidding. You know I love him. Okay, notice that in these problems, throw a little more light on the subject. In these problems, we have the same two numbers. It's 4 times 2 in every single one of these. So following step 1, we work on the numbers. We do whatever they tell us to do first. I know it's going to be 8 all the way down the row, don't I? Because 4 times 2 is 8 every time. Now I go back and I count the number of minus signs. There are 0 here. That's an even number. That means positive. Here there's 1 minus sign, so it stays. There's 2. Aha! This is the magical pickup sticks rule. The 2 go together and make 1, there's nothing left. And here, it's negative again, okay? So these are the answers to those problems. Easy, cute, and fun illustrates the 2 rules. Am I going too fast? I wish you could yell at me and I could hear you in the future saying, slow down. That was easy though. Okay, now they're division, so they're written in a slightly different format. Okay, we have the same scenario where we've got the same pair of numbers every time in the same operation. The minus signs are just jumping around. The same rule holds. Number 1, work on the numbers first. 8 divided by 2 is 4 every time. So we know our answers are going to be 4 every time. And sometimes in division, students get turned around and they try to make this more complicated than it is. Don't make it complicated. Just count the number of minus signs. If it's even, then you end up with a positive. If it's odd, you end up with a negative, right? Because every 2 make a plus. So there's 0, that's positive. This is 2, so that's positive. This is 1, so it's negative. 1, so it's negative. Those are our answers. Does that make sense? A and B are positive for you, yes. I didn't check my answers on the other one. It'd be bad if I made a crazy mistake. I'm pretty sure I got them right, though. Okay, now let's make little chains where we don't just have 2 numbers, but we have a row of them. Now, we don't have to worry about order of operations in this, because all it is straight multiplication. There's nothing else going on in here. So order of operations is not drama. But we follow our rule. Number 1, we work on the numbers. Number 2, we straighten out the minus signs. Now, when you're multiplying a bunch of numbers like this, I try to find ways to make it easy because I don't want to write it out if I don't have to. So I'm going to go 3 times 3 is 9, and then 2 times 4 is 8. So that equals 72, right? And then I just count up the minus signs. 1, 2, 3. So there's a couple ways, as you've probably already heard me say this, there's a couple ways to do it. This 3 minus signs, 3 is an odd number, so that tells us we're going to end with a negative. Or I can visually look at these 2 and go, click, they go together and make a plus. This guy doesn't have anybody to click with, so it ends up as a minus 72. In my mind, my pickup sticks are magnetized, so once they get close to each other, they like snap into place and make a plus sign. That's how it works in my mind. And then this guy, oh, it's so sad. He's got no one. All right, example 81.4. Is the following product positive or negative? Now, make sure you read the instructions in these problems because sometimes students do more of the work than they need to. Ready? Here it is down here. It's kind of at the bottom. Let me squeeze. It's this problem down here. Is the following product positive or negative? They're not asking us to multiply. They just want us to know what sign it ends up being. So all we have to do is count the negative signs. Again, plus signs, they don't matter. Don't worry about them. Just minuses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Aha, that 6 is an even number. They snap together and make 3 plus signs. All that is fine. The product is positive. Yay. We do not need to multiply this out. Wouldn't that be a pain if you multiplied all that and then realized, oh, I didn't have to do that? Guess what? That's the end. Here's your homework. There's the multiplying, there's the dividing, and then those are the long chains. And then this last one is just a question about whether it's positive or negative. Yay! We're done, okay? So whenever, again, this rule relates to multiplying and dividing only, right? So when we are, this answer, just a second. Let me write this. I won't feel good unless I do. Okay, so the rules are for adding and subtracting sign numbers, we think about the ladder. And for multiplying and dividing sign numbers, we think about the pickup sticks. I can just see my grandmother coming into the living room, the front room as she always called it. The living room after we had, quote unquote, I'm air quoting this, we'd played pickup sticks. And there were pickup sticks all over everywhere. And she'd be like, what happened? And we're like, nothing. It's just normal, Grandma. My grandmother raised 2 daughters, and my family was 3 boys and me. So she really wasn't quite used to our energy. It was a little different than her 2 little darlings. But, you know, we all survived. Okay, those are the rules. Multiplying and dividing the pickup sticks, it's way easier than climbing up and down that freaking ladder. So be happy. Lesson 81 is your friend. Goodbye.